Welcome to the Seattle Investors Club podcast with Julie Clark and Joe Bauer, where we share the nuts and bolts of real estate investing from our 20-plus years in the industry. Sit back, relax, listen, and immediately take action. Are you ready? Here we go.
Welcome to the Nuts and Bolts of Real Estate Investing podcast. My name is Joe Bauer, and I'm here with my co-host, Julie Clark. Julie, how are you doing today?
You know what? Honestly, I got to tell you guys, I'm a little tired today. One of my girls, Katie, did not sleep. In fact, she's down there snoozing right now. I kept her home from school today, but she didn't sleep last night at all for some reason. So that means that I didn't sleep. So I'm just going to give you guys a little advance warning. If you hear some like crunching or something going on during the podcast, that's me just kind of munching on a box of Nerds to give some temporary energy. You know, it's been Halloween here, and I'm staring at a giant pack of candy, and so I thought, hey, what's better than a quick jolt of Nerds, my favorite candy, to keep the energy up, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't sleep too good last night either because I was up watching that Seahawks game, and it left me feeling jacked for like 2 hours afterwards.
Yeah, well, I will out myself right now and say that I did not watch the game. So for those...
Sorry.
Yeah. Tell us what happened.
They won in overtime. It was either going to be a tie in overtime and went back and forth many times with San Francisco, who was undefeated, and they won with a field goal in the last seconds of overtime.
Nice. You know, they don't have, this is stupid girl stuff question here. They don't have like replays of football games, do they? Like they don't like rerun so you can watch it again.
They do. You have to have a certain pass to go and do that, but you could easily go and watch just the highlights and probably do it in 10 minutes and get everything you needed.
Oh, that's my style. There you go, right there. Awesome stuff. Well, Joe, I'm just curious. Do you ever eat candy?
You know, we could get real technical about that, and I could tell you that there would be the best time in the world to eat candy, which would be after a hard workout that was done with reps to failure in the 8 to 12 range, which is like a bodybuilding glycogen depletion style of workout. Then you could have a bunch of candy
that was like nerdy fitness stuff right there.
Yeah, we can dig in anytime anybody wants to. But other times, candy's not really all that great unless you're on a long run or endurance event and you're just trying to fuel some sugar.
Well, what's your favorite candy? Or when you do that, do you ever eat candy yourself? And what would it be?
You know, not really, Julie. I'm really strange and I don't like sweet things that much. Like if you were to ask me, like my favorite dessert is like oatmeal with a banana. So I'm strange.
There you go, folks. There you go. If you guys are looking for real estate, you're here with us at the Nuts and Bolts of Real Estate Investing podcast. But if you're looking for some fitness coaching, you do that. That's Joe's awesomely true passion. Where can they hook up with you on that these days, Joe?
Yeah, the getbetterproject.com. So you have to put the front of it, but the getbetterproject.com or anything on the internet with the Get Better Project.
So for all you health and fitness nuts, you got your main man here. Seriously, go check it out. Put something in the show notes that they can check it out. Since I'm eating candy and you're talking fitness today. Yeah. So, well, geez, that's sweet. I'm trying to find a great transition here, but I can't do it. So I'm just going to say, welcome up, Justin. Justin Silverio from Open Letter Marketing is with us here today. And we are going to energize without candy all your marketing today by talking to the expert, the man himself that owns Open Letter Marketing. Welcome, Justin.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Sorry about the intro. I was a little weak today on that one.
No, you're good. Hopefully I can keep you awake though.
Oh, I think so. This is absolutely one of my favorite topics. So I think I'm already feeling the energy. No doubt. So thanks, Justin. I don't know why. Like I said, I thought you were in Oregon, but it turns out you're where? You're in Boston, right?
All the way over in Boston. Yep.
Awesome stuff. You ever get out this way to the Pacific Northwest?
I do. You know, I was up there earlier, I guess this year at the, the PNW Expo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So Badass Real Estate Expo with our buddy Tarl.
Yeah.
Good
so
stuff.
I was there for that. And
Did you present at that maybe?
I did.
Yeah, I thought
Yep.
so. Right on.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was a
Excellent.
great event. That was awesome.
It's awesome every year. I imagine he's going to do it again this next year. If you guys don't know what we're talking about the big badass, what does they call it? It's a mouthful. Pacific Northwest Big Badass Real Estate Expo. Tarl, if you are listening, make a comment down in our comments below, or Grace or Nate or any of you guys, Serena, and tell us if you guys are planning on doing that this next year. I think they normally do it around April or something like that.
That's right. Yeah.
Know if they're
around
doing
April.
it again?
Yeah, they're definitely doing
I'm
it.
pretty sure
I was
they're doing
just
it.
talking with Taro.
Awesome. Good stuff. Well, awesome, Justin. Well, let's kick it off here, Joe. Let's get rolling and learn a little bit about Justin and open letter marketing.
Yeah, awesome. So, Justin, the first question is always to get to know you a little bit better. And so if you could take us back into like where you grew up, how you grew up, and how that led you into this crazy world that we're all in today of real estate and marketing.
Yeah, depending on how far you want to go back. But I guess it did go all the way back to childhood when, I got into, so first of all, I'm a real estate investor as well. And I also just happen to have a marketing company for real estate investors. But I got into real estate. I think I always had the interest. My father was a general contractor for about 45 years. And I remember he built, our house when I was in high school, and just all the projects that he took me through. There was something about it that I really enjoyed, seeing that he's creating something from raw materials and creating like a really beautiful house that people would love to live in. It fascinated me, but I never wanted to be a contractor. I never wanted to really, swinging a hammer and all that stuff. I enjoy that, but I didn't want to do it for work. I wanted to more, my path was more kind of going to college, and I enjoyed numbers. So I went to the accounting path.
Me too.
Did you? Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I did that for about 12, 15 years. And I think it was in 2010 when I started, watching HGTV, and all like the flipping shows started coming about. And I was like, man, this is pretty cool. Like, it has both sides. It has the accounting side and it has the construction side. And I don't have to work for kind of homeowners. I can buy the house and fix it up however I want and then go sell it. So I don't really have to, have anybody tell me what I need to do. But I didn't know construction all that well. So I partnered with my father and pitched him on the idea. I said, I'll run the numbers. You tell me and show me how you do the construction. Let's do it together for a while, and then we'll see how it goes. So he jumped on board. He was, all right, that's great. He's like, as soon as you feel like you're comfortable moving forward by yourself, just let me know. And he's like, buy me out of the company and I'll just keep going with it, and I'll just help you however I can.
Wow, that is awesome. I find it interesting that you went from accounting to marketing, because being an accounting major myself, I don't know what side of the brain that uses or whatever, but it sure does not use the creative side of my brain, for the marketing stuff. I think my biggest struggle has been the marketing side, and it's amazing how much I know about marketing now from knowing zero, with an accounting background and numbers, like you said, deal analyzers, all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Metrics, KPIs, I get all that, but the marketing. So I applaud you for being that dual-minded stud, because I don't know how you pulled it off, because your site and your services are absolutely fantastic. So
yeah, the real thank you very much. The real behind the scenes, like, I think it was just because I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was younger. I mean, I went to art school for a year. Then I went to undergrad for exercise science. So I'm sure Joe kind of knows that.
Oh, Joe.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
He's there, Joe.
He's awake.
Exercise science.
And then I went to grad school for accounting, and then I figured out I didn't really want to do any of those, and started my own real estate investment business.
My God, you know what, Justin? You are like if Joe and I had a baby, what it would turn out to be. You know what, though? Funny. I got to say, as we're goofing along here, that I have to ask you a serious question. Are you secretly Canadian? Because I don't know if
No, That's hilarious that you say that. So for whatever reason, my Boston accent doesn't really come out, but I have a weird Canadian accent, and multiple people have told me that before. I'm not from Canada. It's just
I'm like, this guy's an imposter trying to take over the Canadian real estate market by stealing all our ideas. Awesome stuff. Okay, well, see, I told you, I warned you, we like to goof off here. You know what, guys? I haven't even had my first shot of nerds, and I'm already excited. So there you go. Right. This is going to be fun today. Keep on trucking. So you ended up, your dad, you flew the coop from dad. Yeah.
So, we bought our first property in 2011. I think I bought him out of the business around end of 2015. And at this point, I was still working my full-time job and doing this part-time. And I had a wife and kids. So it was pretty hectic. I did that for 5 years part-time until I jumped ship from my day job in 2016. So it was kind of a long road, but the biggest factor for me was my wife was on board and kind of knew the path that I wanted to take and what the end goal was. And if I didn't have her kind of support, there's like zero chance that I would ever be in this position where I am today.
That is awesome.
So that's kind of where it was in 2016. At the same time, I found all my deals, or I guess 95% plus of my deals, through direct mail. I always liked that approach because I was always in full control of my deal flow. And for whatever reason, I just didn't want to have to depend on anybody else, whether that's real estate agents, wholesalers, anything like that, because, the buck stops with me. And if a real estate agent that I depend on suddenly goes to another real estate investor, I can't look at that person and say, hey, you should still be bringing me deals. I have to figure out how to find the deal flow. So direct mail was always...
You get the best deals when you find your own deals, right?
Exactly.
And you're getting tighter and tighter. It's even more and more important to learn how to have this skill set to find your own deals to survive. Whether it goes for being a real estate investor or a real estate broker or any business that you're in, right? Mm-hmm. With all the automation and disruption going on today, if you don't know how to find your own deals and you have to rely on, it's just the margins seem to be getting a little bit thinner and thinner. But good stuff. Let me ask you, I'm going to geek out with you for a second here, since you're my I was going to say love child, but that wouldn't really, but the accounting thing. So, what I find interesting about real estate investors, even successful ones, I think Tucker, I know you know Tucker Merrihew. I think I actually talked to Tucker about this on when we did a podcast with him. Yeah. It's like the last thing that investors think about is taxes, even successful ones, right?
Right.
And coming from accounting geek talk here, you'd think it actually, people learn the whole real estate investing business backwards, if you ask me, right? Let's go wholesale or flip a house, and they should learn their borrowing position first and all these other things. But I find it oddly interesting that people wait to figure out their tax stuff until they're super successful, or the opposite is that new investors go down a huge long rabbit hole with their asset protection when they actually don't have anything to protect initially. You know what I mean? So
absolutely. I see that, I see that a lot, and I don't know if it's because they're jumping in and they're like, hey, real estate, that seems like a good way to, jump in, make money. And maybe they don't have, the business background or think of the taxes. But yeah, there's a point in time which when you're jumping in, some people just go over the top with asset protection and everything, when at the end of the day, they need to jump in. And then other people don't really look at the full picture of the tax aspect. When they go in the end of the year, they're like, holy shit, I owe how much?
Yeah.
Or what do I have to do? So yeah.
Yeah, or even asset protection beyond paying your real estate taxes. Okay, so we're not talking about taxes today, but geeking out with you there on since we're both accounting majors or whatever, accounting background. But so you have your own. You are a real estate investor yourself. Do you still do that full time along with open letter marketing? And what kind of business is that? Are you flip or buy holds or what?
Yeah, so I still do it. over the years, kind of, I pivot a lot depending on the market and depending on what is kind of where the most amount of profit is done, and also risk tolerance. So when I started out, I was doing entry-level homes. Then once I got comfortable, I started mid-level homes, then high-end homes, then high-end new construction. And now I'm doing condo conversions in Boston.
Ooh.
So taking multifamily properties, converting them to condos, and then selling those condos out, as well as, but 90% of my deals are still wholesales, because I'm doing direct mail, going direct to seller. I can get very good deals on properties, and a lot of investors around here are looking for. Not many people can find good deals, so I'm able to still maintain a really good wholesale spread for myself.
Awesome. And do you just have you ever considered wholesaling in other markets, or are you just doing it in the? You mean, who's it? You must be the best wholesaler in town. That's what I'm thinking. Have you ever considered doing other market wholesaling?
Possibly. So what I've done over the last year and a half, I really have built out my procedures and processes in-house. And basically now I'm hiring people to bring them in and get the right people in the right seats, so that we can start kind of proofing the concept of my systems, tweaking them, so that now we can possibly do it virtual.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, let's get into it. We're talking about marketing today. And as we've said here, guys, Justin is the owner of Open Letter Marketing. You're going to thank us for this. Lots of you, I'm sure, have already heard about and know about Open Letter Marketing because you attended the Charles event at the Big Badass Real Estate Conference there. And, I think obviously Open Letter Marketing, I think a lot of people out here in the Pacific Northwest are aware of your company. And so that's why we wanted to get you on today, because it really is, to me, it is the most, I think your website at least, and the stuff and the services that you offer on there, like one-stop shopping almost essentially, right? But let's talk about what marketing looks like today. I think the buzzword I'm hearing out there, and Eric B, thank you, Joe, Joe's buddy Eric. I think I got this word from Eric on one of his webinars that he did not too long ago, which you guys can all get access to through Seattle Investors Club pretty soon. If it's not on there yet, it will be. Is that right, Joe?
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out a time to do another live one, actually.
Awesome. Well, the buzzword I'm hearing is omnipresent marketing, which basically means that you're kind of boxing in a cell, or you're using many, many different marketing messages to surround, the seller. So everywhere they're at, Facebook or, you're in front of them, right? Whatever they're doing online, you're in front of them. Is that a word that you've heard buzzed around yet? Or am I making that up?
I haven't heard that actual term, but yeah, I know that the process, or kind of the thought for that, the layering strategy. So you're attacking the customer, the prospect from different angles, and they're seeing it in, print media and online. Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. And so you guys are, I think a lot of people start that omnipresent marketing, I guess I'll say, where you're touching them in all kinds of different ways by direct mail, right? I think that's sometimes the first step in the messaging sequence. So let's go back and start with the basics a little bit. I know you guys all know what direct mail is, but maybe we can drill down a little bit with Justin today on, some basic questions, then we'll dive deeper into the stuff. So let me just start, some Dumbo questions here. First class mail or standard class mail? Who'd you rather?
So it would be dependent on, the difference. I'll tell you the difference first, and I'll tell you why I would use each one of them in different times. So first class mail, you're going to get it delivered within 4 to 6 business days to your prospect. Standard class mail could take up to 2 to 3 weeks. Probably won't take that long unless it's around the holidays. The other big piece is first class mail, you will get returned mail. Standard class, you will not get returned mail. So for people that are looking to either save money or don't really care when their prospects, aren't as concerned about when exactly their prospects get to their mail, I always tell them, when you send out, if it's a new list, send out a first-class piece first, because you want to get those returned to senders back to you so that you can skip trace them and either give them a call or find a new address of where they live, put them back on your list, and now you can start sending standard class mail.
Right. I mean, the standard class mail can work great if you're on a mailing system where you're set up to mail every, in a sequence. You guys can do that automatically, right? Like a drop sequence that's set
Absolutely.
up, right?
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. So you don't have to remember. If you're working with somebody like Open Letter Marketing, you can preset that up, correct?
Yes, and that's one of the big things. Like for Open Letter, the only reason I started is because all the other marketing companies for real estate investors, they were basically following the same exact path and offering the same exact products. And over my testing and finding what worked and what were the bottlenecks and what were the challenges of a real estate investor, because I was in it, I found there were much better ways and solutions to those problems. So there was just a huge void in the market that I knew that I could offer a much better product and a much better system. And those marketing campaigns is one huge one that most of our customers use, because if you have one or two people in the business and you start to get a deal, two deals, now the first thing that they forget to do or they don't keep up with is their marketing. Right. And as I'm sure you know, marketing is critical. And as you continue to send out direct mail, you need to be consistent to build that, rolling ball down a hill, that momentum to reach out to your sellers so they call you back.
Exactly. And if any of you guys out there are just getting started and you are part of some real estate guru thing, or you're just getting started on your own, my opinion is you don't need to go out and learn how to flip a house when you don't have a house to flip. The first thing that you need to do is you need to learn how to lead generate for yourself. Ideally, yes, go network with, wholesalers and so forth like that. But that's even saturated. The best deals are deals you're going to find yourself. So after we're done with this podcast today, we will be using this as part of our training with the newbies, like telling, what we like to do at Seattle Investors Clubs. I think people get information overload. Mm-hmm. They don't know where to start, or they start backwards. They start, in the wrong sequence of learning stuff, and they don't take care of maybe the top, 2 or 3 things they should do first, and educating themselves. And in my opinion, that is, one of those is understanding what you bring to the table yourself. Like, in case you can go partner with somebody, what can you offer that might be valuable to someone else? Number 2, go understand what your borrowing position is. Do you have to flip, or can you go straight to a buy and hold because you have a day job and you could, get a conventional loan on a property if you needed to, or, go straight to multifamily investing or something like that. I think people don't put sitting down with both a hard money lender and a conventional lender at the very, very top of their list, because it really can steer your ship. But then beyond that, you really need to learn how to become an expert at marketing and have a awesome resource, which is basically like your team, right? I mean, Open Letter Marketing is like having an entire team on your company, that can handle that for you. It doesn't need to be this huge mountain to climb if you plug into the right group and the right system, right?
Right.
And then,
Absolutely.
Of course, learning about creative real estate. So I look forward to passing out this podcast or pointing people to it when we're done today. Let's keep going here. How about envelopes? We're asking the basic questions to start here. Invitation style, you got, white ones or the dotted ones or the herringbone ones. Does it matter? Or is it more that you just want to mix it up through the process, or which one should be used first? Any of that stuff, font styles, any of that stuff super important? Or is it just there to mix it up because you're going to want to touch them a lot?
As far as the types of envelopes and all of that, the more so the messaging. So we like to switch it up because not every prospect will respond the same way that anybody else responds. They're all going to respond a little bit differently. So they might see, a professional letter that they relate to a little bit more than maybe a handwritten letter. So it all depends on the demographics. So we always mix it up. And so we always start with a handwritten letter. And the reason why we do that is because it's very short, it's to the point. We use handwritten font, and we internally create our own handwritten font, Like we look at every single thing and try to think about, can we do this better? How can we do it better? I'm testing it in my own business because I want to make sure that it works before I start offering it to my customers. But we start with a handwritten letter, very short, to the point, because that will generally generate more responses, but less quality responses. Okay, so that's going to kick off your campaign. As we go through our mailing campaigns, we offer more information, and it's almost like a conversation with the seller. So every subsequent mailer is referring back to previous mailers that we sent, or is just adding on to the conversation. So by the time you're at the end of your campaign, you're sending a professional letter. There's a lot more information. So you're actually scrubbing your prospects down, and so you'll get less calls, but more quality calls by the end of the campaign.
That's a really good way to put it, that you're actually through the process having a conversation. I think a lot of people probably mail the same thing over and over and over again, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right. And actually having a conversation, using this as a technique to have a conversation and referring back or however, very awesome that you don't hear a lot of people talk about, that strategy for sure. And, of course, I've seen some of the products on your site which lead people down that path. Like you said, you have systems, which we can talk about a little bit later, that help them do that. How about font styles? Do you test that, or does it matter, or?
Yeah, I mean, what we found is, it's interesting because depending on the font style, so handwritten letters, you want to make them look as authentic as possible. That's definitely a given. But there's kind of a love-hate relationship between the authenticity of a handwritten note, because some, older people, it's more difficult to read. So we're always, messing with fonts to find out what is the best thing that we can do. Does everything, we'll go out and we'll just ask random people, hey, can you read this note? Can you tell me what it says? And we'll go to like family and friends and stuff like that before we start offering it, because we want to make sure that the end prospect can actually understand what you're sending a message to.
Awesome.
So we'll do that stuff in-house, generate our own fonts. So really, there's multiple variants per letter. So if there's two T's next to each other, they don't look like the same T. So we do everything we possibly can to make it look authentic. Awesome.
Good stuff, guys. How about, do you recommend putting a website on all the mail pieces, to push them, to a landing page, an opt-in page, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I do. I mean, for my mailers that I do, I definitely put my website, I put my logo, because it's just another reference point so they can make sure that you are a legitimate company, right? Most companies have websites, so it's not like they're not going to, if they're tech savvy, go online and then Google your name. So if you provide it right there, most people are jumping onto our website, and we've seen that our website gets hits after we send out mail, so we know people are going to our website to check us out, and really it's just another way to really have a lead magnet and get them to understand who we are and how we can help them. And again, if they call after that, it's screening them out further. So it's an important process. So you're not getting, I talk to a lot of people, and it's not always the response rate that you're looking for. Response rate's only good for, comparing how things are working in different markets. But when you get to the company level, you want to look at deal rate. So when people are getting 100 responses off, 300 mailers, yeah, but what's the quality of those calls, right? So any way that you can further screen them is always helpful.
Right. Do you, when you're pushing them, if you're using a website to on your mailings to push them somewhere, do you, like, if you're mailing to a probate list, do you push them to a certain page versus you're mailing to a, divorce or vacant property list or something? Do you have different pages for that? Or for you personally, do you just push them to your main website? Or do you have different marketing messages that end up on different pages? Does that make sense?
Yep. No, that makes sense. When I started, I would send different messages depending on which list people were on. But what I found out is I was actually, I was getting people offended before I even had a chance to have a conversation with them. So now all of my messaging and my letters and even my website, I push them to the same exact website. It's not talking about their situation. Instead, when people call, when they call through, my flow works so that everything goes through CallRail, and it will tell me what lead is calling in. So if I see tax default prospect is calling in, I'll navigate the conversation to get the answers and really talk about their pain points when I'm on the call.
Right.
I'd rather do it then because it's much more authentic and it seems more like a script rather than put it in any of my marketing.
Interesting. That's a good valid point, right? You offend them before or I guess, I don't know, I'm just talking out loud here. If you're sending a message about, I don't know, maybe the message doesn't say probate, or maybe it does something. I guess you would never send out a letter. I don't know. I don't do it this way that says anything about inherited homes, right? Like, you're not going to say, did you inherit a home? You just know you're sending a list to inherited people, right?
Right. Yeah. And as the messaging and the direct mail goes out, the first couple of messages are very, broad about just, purchasing their house. But as we get into professional letters, we talk about different situations that we can buy. And
right.
it's more like bullet pointed instead of like pointing out this is your issue. So they can kind of relate to one of those points that we have.
Again, it's further down the line in the conversation of the direct mail, right?
Yes.
Exactly. What's the name of your personal real estate business? What do you roll under?
JS2 Homes, and it basically stands for
JS2 Homes.
Yeah, JS2 Homes. So it's my father, his name's John, and my name Justin. So JS, squared.
Awesome.
We're going to do JS squared, but I thought that would be more confusing.
So how about with postcards and stuff? Does I know the Google Street View came out and it was awesome there for a while, and still I'm sure is awesome and works, but maybe starting to get a little saturated. People figured out that that's doable. I don't know if that was a couple years ago or what, but What do you think about that? Any stats on Google Street View versus just a standard text postcard, or what should be used first, or is it again just mixing it up?
I would say mixing it up. So one thing I would say about Google Street View, it does work, but I would not use it over and over again. It's kind of like you want to use it once and let yourself go through the campaign with other mailing types, whether that's postcards, letters, whatever you want. But I would not use Google Street View postcards over and over again, because you will see a bump when you use it the first time, but after that you'll see no increase. What we found.
I think I found the same. I think we overused it ourselves, in fact. Hey guys, it's Julie here with a quick break from the show to discuss an opportunity some of you may have interest in, which is to work more closely with me. On almost a daily basis, I get calls from investors and brokers, both new and experienced, asking me for guidance or advice. I love helping you guys out, and it keeps me on my toes too. So with that said, I wanted to let you know that I have a private broker coaching community called the VIP Education Community. And the best part is that it's 100% free. That's right, it's free to join. So whether you're a traditional broker or a broker investor, my VIP education community offers personalized one-on-one coaching from not just me, but also from my experienced broker friends with expertise in all disciplines of real estate and real estate investing. We'll teach and share our modern marketing strategies, our tech and lead generation resources, plus teach you how to identify or offer up opportunities for yourself or for your clients using techniques such as seller financing, lease options, land entitlement deals, BRRRR investing, flipping, multifamily or commercial coaching, whatever you like. We've got it all covered for you. The future of real estate is changing fast, and to stay in the game, it's time to learn about all the options you can offer your buyer and seller clients, as well as, if you want, learn how to use those skills to grow your own real estate portfolio. If you'd like more details about joining my VIP education community, reach out to me at julie@seattleinvestorsclub.com or text me at 206-910-2985, or just send me a Facebook message. My new favorite phrase is community equals confidence. So let's navigate the future of real estate together. Now, back to the show. Cool. Let's see. Let's see some other tools. I see on your website, it says you guys generate higher response rates and improve ROI with market tested direct mail and digital marketing tools. So tell us about the digital marketing tools that you offer.
Sure. So we also offer ringless voicemails and text messages. So text messaging is kind of a part of our ringless voicemail, but we do offer a ringless voicemail that works in conjunction with direct mail. So the way that we generally do it is you send a direct mail piece, the direct mail piece hits. 2 days later, we send a ringless voicemail. You know, the message could be something like, hey, I sent you a letter in the mail the other day. Just want to make sure you got it. If you can, give me a call back when you get a chance. So much more authentic. And the combination has been between the two, the direct mail with the layered ringless voicemails, the response rate has jumped really high. But I would say the response rates jumped really high. The quality of the calls are okay. But the reason why we're doing ringless voicemail is for a specific reason. We basically want to have conversations with sellers that we otherwise would not have had conversations with. So what that means to me is maybe they're not interested in selling now, but in 6 months or so, they might be interested, or even a year, they might be interested. I can get them into my CRM, and now I can, automate that follow-up system with them. So I catch them before they start going out and looking for other people to purchase their homes. So, right. So I will be very specific on who I send the ringless voicemails out to get those calls, but it doesn't go out to kind of, a huge list.
So it's not part of you don't use ringless voicemail as part of, like, first you start with a postcard or a professional letter, then you hit them with a ringless voicemail, then maybe another letter or postcard, and then a text. You don't use the ringless voicemail as on every lead. You pick and choose?
No, so the way that I break my leads out is high quality. So just stepping back, like, your lead list is extremely, extremely important. I can't stress that enough. A lot of people that come to us, we'll talk to them about their lead list, how they got it, because your lead list, you're going to be spending a good amount of money on your leads when you start to do direct mail. So make sure you have a good lead list, or you have a lot of money to spend so you can send to many potential prospects. The way
right.
that
people overlook how big time serious having a good list.
Oh, it's amazing. Yep.
It is everything. Actually, nothing that we're talking about matters that much if the list isn't any good.
It's so true. It's so critical. It will take me probably 2 to 3 months to create a new lead list for myself every single time. It takes a lot of time. I get it from a lot of different resources. But once I do get my lead list and I put it together, I'll rank my leads between high quality, medium quality, and low quality. And then I'll approach those leads differently based on what category they're in. So my low quality leads, I won't hit them with RVMs or anything like that. I'll probably send them more postcards, and I'll just continue to send them postcards because it's low cost.
How do you determine what's a high quality lead and a low quality lead? That might lead us into your super lead list generator service.
It is. So good question. Basically what I found is so I should start off by saying my high quality leads are my super leads. So basically my layered leads. So if a property is in, let's say, my driving for dollars, my tax lien, and code violation list. It's on 3 different lists, and that is a super lead. So a super lead is just any property that's on more than one lead list.
What's your rule of thumb there? Is it get the high quality lead if it's on 2 lists, or is it on 3 lists? Is there, you know what I mean? Obviously, if it's on 3, it's better.
Right. It depends. So I'll go into see what lists that they're on, because if they're only on an equity and maybe a trust list, a more general list, I might not put them in my super lead. But if they're on driving for dollars, code violation, tax lien, absolutely, I would only need 2 of those to put them on my high quality leads.
Very, very awesome right there. So not only, guys, I think we've all talked, and you guys, whoever hangs around me, you know I've been talking about the layered lists for quite a while here. It's not, lots of people out there talking about layering your lists and stuff like that. But there's a little nugget here I don't want you guys to miss out on. He is not only layering his lists and ranking his leads, of high quality like that, he is ranking his source of the lead or the type of lead list it is as an extra layer on top, right? Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yes, it does.
Very, very awesome. So tell us, since we're on that topic, about your service called the Super Lead List Generator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically what people do is just provide us with their full master lead list. That means that they have they pulled leads from multiple lead lists. So they'll have one spreadsheet that has, their whatever, driving for dollars, code violations, equity, absentee leads. They provide that to us. We put it through our system and send them back a file with unique properties only. And beside each unique property, it will tell you what lead list or lead lists that each property is on. So that now they can start understanding, okay, where is kind of my highest quality leads from there.
Absolutely spectacular. And what's the cost for something like that?
I think right now it's one-time fee of $75.
So each time, each list is $75. Is there a minimum or anything?
Nope, no minimum, no maximum. They can do. So what I tell people is get all of your lists together, and then send it over to us so we can do it once. Because you can have 10,000 on that list, 5,000, however many ever you want, and we can still run it through for the same cost.
What's interesting is some of you coneheads out there are probably like, oh, I think I could figure out how to do that, or you're thinking along those lines. But my question to you is, how much is your time worth for $75? Right? That's kind of how I want to just put the period on that sentence there. But that is super awesome. Let's talk about what else here. What else can I talk to you about? This is good. Do you think what's your opinion on, is the success with direct mail marketing or any type of marketing, is it about the message? Like, how much weight is the message versus, having an okay message rather than some secret sauce message, that you're just there when they're ready, and that the beauty of it is being there when they're ready, not that you said something one way versus another. How do you feel about that?
I think that hands down the most important thing, consistency. That's it. That is the biggest component of direct mail and really any marketing, because like you said, you want to get in front of people when either their circumstance or situation changes and they're looking to sell. So if you're not consistently targeting them with marketing, whatever it is, it doesn't even have to be direct mail, whatever you choose to do, consistently market to them or follow up with them. The consistency piece is just so important. Absolutely.
I actually coach a lot of real estate brokers and real estate investors. And I have a coaching platform, let's just call it. Mm-hmm. And what I have come to learn is that there isn't like a blanket statement. You could say these are all the types of marketing that people are doing these days. And they'll look at that and they'll go, oh God, great. That's awesome. I get that. But what I've come to learn is that in order to actually get somebody to do it, it's personality driven. Meaning, some people hate cold calling. Some people hate driving for dollars. Some people, it's what will you do? So I always ask them, what will you do if you're not going to do all these things or plug into a system? If I can show you a system that'll take care of the things that you don't like to do yourself, but what will you commit to, right? Especially as people are getting started, because that is the key, right? Commit to something and become an expert at it and do it over and over and over again, right? But like you say, it does seem like if all you're going to do is, I know some wholesalers here that all they do is direct mail because that's their comfort. That's it. They don't do anything else. And, they are having success because they're consistently doing it. But I think to myself, boy, if you just added on a few more touches in different forms of medium that aren't that complicated. I think that people just don't know what they don't know, and they think it's going to be really hard to learn to do these add-on,
Right.
touches.
Yeah, I mean, most investors, we're 90%, 99% of investors are not marketers. So this is kind of a little bit out of their comfort zone. They just want to buy houses and flip
Right.
them. So they don't really think of the marketing aspect. But like we talked about in the beginning, the deal flow is, if you don't have deal flow, you don't have a business.
Right.
And so focusing on marketing, understanding it, and not just following somebody else. And we get this all the time. People will call and say, hey, another guy in a different market's using this postcard, and it's working amazing for him, and I want to start using it. I'm expecting these results. And I always caution them, just because their postcard is working in their market doesn't mean it's going to work the same in your market. Don't just copy, carelessly what other people are doing. Yeah, you can test it, but don't expect it to work the same. Keep your eyes open, test things, track what is working, what isn't working, and just refine what you're doing. But don't just copy what other people are doing because you don't understand marketing that way. Get into marketing a little bit more and track all this stuff.
I mean, the problem is that, they say don't copy other people's marketing, but now aren't we kind of talking about, that's what the whole service is about. Here's our message, go ahead and use it, right?
Yep.
So
yes.
We don't mean it like necessarily like that, but don't fall hook, line, and sinker that somebody's got some magic silver bullet that's going to improve your own business, right? Because if you
absolutely, and it's so when I use, a lot of people come to me and ask me what I use because they just want to mimic what I do. But I'll always preface it and say, listen, like postcards don't work in my area. I've tested, I've found out they don't work well. Not even half as good as letters. So I always use letters to send to my prospects, unless they're my low quality, and I'll just send them with postcards because those are my very lowest quality. I don't want to spend a lot of money, so I'll just hit them with something. But in my really good quality leads, I'll use letters or trifold flyers. But I have a ton of clients that use postcards, and they're killing it with postcards. So that's where it's like, you can try what other people are doing, but track your results. You're spending money on this. It's very important. Track your results and refine and see if other things are working better, because if postcards are going to work really well for some of my customers, I don't want them to buy letters. Like, I don't want them to spend more money when they could spend less money and get just as many deals.
It's super interesting what we're drilling down here, guys, because we're talking about also drilling down per list type, right? That it might work for postcards on one type of list and letters on another, right? Like you said, in your market, it might work one or another, and maybe that's how you network with your local real estate investors and ask them what's working. Luckily, here in the Pacific Northwest and in Washington, we have a very collaborative real estate investing community. So we're lucky to have a place where we can share. And I'll remind you guys, one of those places is at one of our weekly local meetups. Open book, where we sit around and deep dive, discuss all this kind of stuff with each other today. I just said today because I'm going to one today, but every week, with like an open book. So plug in. What else can I ask you here? Do you, we're talking about investors that are mostly cheap asses, unless they're having, yeah, sorry guys, I said the C word. I called you the C word. Didn't mean to. I did mean to, but so they're, they want to go as least expensive. Would you recommend though, like we were talking about, I guess the beauty here is it depends on the type of list. Like you said, the quality of how you're ranking those leads on, I haven't thought about it that way necessarily. Like, if you're ranking your leads and they're your highest quality leads, maybe the first touch is going to look different than your lower quality leads ranked on your list, where you might want to flush them out initially with a postcard, a first class something, so you get that return mail so you can get them off your list, or, re-pull the information so you're not wasting your money. But it's also the least expensive way to get started, right? Is with a postcard.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. And,
but maybe again, thinking about starting with a professional letter depending on the quality of that lead? Because and again, we can't even say a blanket statement because you just pointed out in different markets it's different, right?
Exactly. Yeah, the demographics that you're hitting, right? They're going to be different, and really, it's all about just, if you're going to spend the money on direct mail. Direct mail is not cheap, especially if you're going to consistently do it. So, I mean, I started when I was just putting the letters together. Me and my wife would put them in the envelopes and seal them ourselves and do them at home. But direct mail was a great form for us. That's how it worked well on how we wanted to find deals. So when you start with direct mail, just try, postcards. They're the cheapest thing. Track it, find out the results, see how it did, try something else, and keep on looking at tracking everything, because I don't like I said, if postcards are working well for you and you try letters and you're not getting the results and any increase in results from letters, then you can spend less money on postcards and continue to send postcards out.
As long as you're testing it on the same list, right?
Yes. Yep.
Right.
And even split testing that list. You can send it to different, postcards for certain people, letters for other people. I would just say that make sure you have a good population size and you're not doing 200 postcards, 200 letters.
Population size for that kind of testing?
I would say at least 2,000 to 3,000 per, I guess, mailer type.
Right.
At the very least.
Right.
Ideally, more like
5,000. That the people having consistent success. I mean, I think there's two, levels. I'm sure there's many more levels, but it's the people that send out 2,000 or 3,000 or up to 5,000 per month, and then there's the big production houses sending out 25,000 plus per month, which is a different situation. What are those two tranches that you feel are get what I'm after here?
Yeah, so I would say, the people that are doing, I'll tell you the big difference between the two. The people that are sending 25,000 or more a month, we have plenty of those customers. We also have a lot of customers that are sending just a couple thousand a month. The big difference between the two, I can almost ask every single one of the people that are sending 25,000 or more on anything I want about their KPIs, and they'll have the answer. They'll know how much it's going to cost them to get a deal. They know what their response rate is. They know what their deal rate is. They know how much it costs them just to get into an appointment. They have all those KPIs. So, and I think that's important because for my businesses, I always want to model my business after a business that's much bigger, larger, and more successful than I am. And when I look at, companies like that are doing 25,000 or more mailers a month, they're doing, over 100 deals a year. How are they set up? What are they tracking? What is important for them? And tracking is, exceptionally important because they can tell me, hey, that postcard didn't do as well as the last one we sent. So can we go back to that one? Or what do you think we should do next? So having those conversations, there's a big difference in that conversation with the people that are doing really high volume and, just a couple thousand pieces a month.
What CRM are you thinking? Are people still using like Investor Fuse and all that, or Podio type of stuff? Or what do you use for your CRM to track all this and track your KPIs? Or what do you hear the big gun groups are using, the big guys and gals?
They use a bunch of different, I don't think I have, a big cluster of people that use one specific program, but everything that you said, like Investor Fuse and all those, Podio and other Podio based ones. Although I think Investor Fuse is off Podio now, but I personally use Podio. I built the CRM out for myself, so I kind of tweaked it from I customize it from the ground up.
Awesome. What about investors who? What do you think about investors, again, using the C word, cheap, that think that just going straight to phone calls first before any direct mail? Do you have an opinion about that at all? Because, well, if I can get a phone number and I can call them, it won't cost me anything, even though the truth is it probably costs you something to get a good phone number. And if you don't think it's costing you anything, it's probably costing you a lot of time to sift through bullshit phone numbers, and time is money. So we'll say that at the front. But what do you think about calling first versus mailing first?
I'll be quite honest. At the very basis, I just want them to do something and be consistent at it. So for me, it's not about direct mail, I know that it works really well for me and it works really well for a lot of other investors. However, I always look at marketing from a time or versus money perspective. If people have more time than money, do something that takes more time than money. And if that means, cold calling people, getting a list, going through that list, door knocking, whatever it is, and you can be consistent at it and you enjoy it, then great, do that. If you have more money than time, then now you can start implementing and outsourcing maybe direct mail and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, like, as long as people are actually taking action and being consistent with it, I'm happy with whatever anybody chooses.
Awesome.
But for me, direct mail is always my basis. And then I do any other follow-ups after that through different channels.
Do you recommend branded versus unbranded? Do you have any stats that you're tracking from all your clients and customers on, branded versus unbranded, like professional branding, like a company sending out the mail versus like, hey, me and my wife, Betty, buy houses, or Bob buys houses, or, even though Bob buys houses can be a brand, but you get what I'm saying.
Yes. It's tough to get those KPIs. However, I will say 100% I have the mindset of branded, because it gives them another way to remember you, which is your logo. More people can remember a logo than they can remember a name. So if they consistently see your logo, and now they see it, if you have other forms of marketing, whether it's online, social media, anything like that, your website, in addition to your direct mail, it's only going to help build that trust and build that rapport with the seller, and they'll remember that logo. So I'm definitely of the mindset that branding is much better than unbranded, especially like even when people call me back, I want them to not only get my direct mail piece, but also remember me later on. If I, happen to, the next month after they receive my direct mail, they say, hey, that letter that came to me, this logo, I've seen it a lot, and they'll remember who I am. Any way that they can remember me is always important.
Awesome stuff. Do you ever, you may or may not have any insight or comment on this. So if you don't, that's totally cool too. But, as far as people who are wholesalers sending out these mail pieces in direct mail where they have no intention to actually buy the house, they're just going to be wholesaling the house. Do you think that do you have any insight on, whether they should be using a different message instead of saying, I want to buy your house? Have you had anybody talk about that, or are you involved in any legal wholesaling type of discussions?
No, to be honest, I haven't. I think one state, didn't they ban wholesaling?
I think it's Illinois.
Yeah. So, but no, I haven't had anybody change the messaging or anything like that.
Well, I'm going to point everybody to it. You might actually want to listen to it too. Not that, I'm not saying anything, but that is something, because I'm both a broker and an investor, and a lot of people come into me for advice and coaching, and I want to be able to sleep well at night. So luckily I've been able to make friends with my buddy Jeff Watson. Shout out Jeff. Hey, Jeff Watson, who's, I would say, the recognized national authority on legal wholesaling. So we're not going to dive into that today, guys, but I highly recommend, as part of your marketing education, if you are wholesaling or whatever, sending out any type of marketing, that you go listen to our podcast number 63 with Jeff Watson on legal wholesaling. It'll give you some insight into that question right there, but we won't dive down deep. But it is absolutely important that you listen to that as part of your real estate investing education, in my opinion. So we'll move on past that. But let's talk about for a second how you can help with IP marketing for investors, and when and why they would want to do that. Yeah,
sure. So IP marketing, for those that don't know, it's basically we can identify the IP address of a computer based on someone's address. So if you send us your lead list, we can put it through our IP mapping system and identify. Usually we're around a 50% mark. So if you give us a list of 2,000 names, we'll probably be able to match the IP address of about 1,000 names. But what we can do is essentially, it's almost like a Facebook marketing, so targeted marketing to these people and their banner ads on just different websites. So whether it's a news website that they go onto, or just various websites throughout. Very similar to Facebook, only it's everywhere else but Facebook.
Basically, it's internet marketing where your banner ad follows them around. And so are you saying, when you say just give us a list of the addresses, are you talking about the property address, just to clarify for people?
Yes,
are you talking
property
about
address.
like their email address?
Nope, property address.
So based off a property address, you can pull their the IP is a computer address?
Yes. What is it? Internet protocol, maybe? IP address?
Yep.
I don't know what it stands for, but I think it is.
Basically their internet address.
Yeah, exactly.
You can follow them around on the internet.
Yep.
I don't know why I didn't know that it's off of, you can pull that off of physical property address.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
It's crazy, right? When I first heard of that, I was like, that is crazy and
exciting and scary at the same time.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So are you helping people then not only do that, but then you actually place them on websites based on certain, how do they get connected and get onto the website with the banner?
So the service that we use or that we partner with, they have a bunch of different websites that they have the banner ads onto, and generally most of the people that are surfing the website happen to kind of reach one of those sites in their search, whether it's through Google, getting them onto other websites. So that's kind of the process. They're on specific websites. Can
you give them a list of specific websites you want to show up on, or is it more like by?
No, it's just based on, really, if the person lands on a website that we can show a banner ad on, we're going to show the banner ad. They can't specify exactly what website they want and do not want to be on, but it's just within the kind of network of websites that we're on.
And when does the dollars on paying for that marketing, that type of marketing, start racking up? Is it when it appears on the website or when somebody clicks on it?
Impressions. So anytime somebody sees it on their computer screen.
Okay, there you go.
Yep.
Just to clarify, not everybody's up to speed on that. So awesome. How about Facebook? Are you guys plugged into you have any Facebook partners or anything like that, or?
We don't offer any Facebook ads ourselves. I have been testing them with my own real estate investment company, but we don't offer anything like that right now.
How's that going for you?
It's good. It was better, a year ago or two, when you could get a little bit more refined in the criteria and how you want to, the demographics. But they've changed things considerably, so it's a little bit more difficult now. But
everything gets saturated so fast these days.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You gotta pivot like crazy. You got to be on top of this stuff.
You really do. It's incredible. I feel like the last couple of years, investors with their marketing have, they've found different ways to hit people and different methods. So yeah, it's moving much more quickly than it used to.
Yeah. Well, we did do a podcast with Josh Shanley of Client Alchemist. He's a Facebook marketing expert. Joe, you might want to, link it down below as well for people who are interested in Facebook marketing. But I also am playing around and testing some of my, coaching students are also goofing around with it, because it is, again, it's all changing all the time. So if you can, it's hard to keep up with all this stuff, right? That's why it's important to choose what you think you can commit to. It is possible to do it all. And it's not that difficult to understand once you take the time to learn how it all works, because there are so many services. Here, look at open letter marketing right here, guys, is going to tackle 95% of it for you, right? And one thing we didn't talk about yet is text messaging, marketing with text, which is, the big buzz these days. Do you want to touch on that real quick and then we'll wrap up?
Yeah. So right now what we do, the way that we offer text messaging is through ringless voicemail. So if somebody doesn't pick up the phone or not pick up the phone, so if the ringless voicemail was either canceled or didn't get through, it will actually send the prospect a text message. So if their voicemail is full or whatnot, it'll actually follow up with a text message to that person. Hey, I just tried to give you a call. I couldn't get through. If you can, give me a call back when you get a chance. We're looking into offering text message as a service on its own, and I think we should have that in the next couple of months.
And what are, just in case maybe you can share with us a little brief overview on the rules on, who you can send ringless voicemails to. Does it have to be a cell phone? And, a kind of rules on that. Are there anything you want to share on that, or do you want to pass the buck because it's too deep of a subject matter?
It is a very deep, it's very deep, and it's different depending on what state you're in. But there definitely is legalities around it. Some people follow it to the T. Other people don't, because they say, hey, I'm not selling anything. I'm buying stuff. So it doesn't, ringless voicemail and TCPA doesn't apply to me because I'm not selling anything. I'm actually looking to buy something. So as long
my personal opinion is that will be short-lived because that's the workaround right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be.
They're going to, absolutely. I agree with you.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you guys partner with somebody on that to keep compliant, or because you're marketing and your service is available all over, in all these states that have different rules? How do you guys offer it and stay compliant with all that? Do you have a partner that keeps that going for you, or are you guys relying, is it up to everybody to just rely on the fact that maybe they might be able to use that message we just said, where you're offering to buy something, you're not offering a product or a service?
Yes. So we always say that it's up to the comfort level of the customer. However, all of our lists are scrubbed through the litigators service. So anybody that has a potential to potentially sue you, we always run it through that list to screen those people out. At the end of the day, some people don't want to take out the DNCs. Because they don't really care. Other people want to take it out. So we have a disclosure before anybody does our ringless voicemail saying that you've read through our disclosure document to make sure that you're getting it out.
This is a big deal, guys. And so if you guys have questions about that or want to talk more about that, hit me up. I'm not the expert either, but it is something that you just need to be aware of, and you're in charge of yourself in that regard. So good stuff, man. I love it. Do you have any clients out? I'm sure you do, in markets that you service that are going head to head with iBuyers yet?
Yeah, a couple of people. Actually, we have lots of customers out in Washington, Portland, stuff like that. So yes, we do have investors that are kind of competing with iBuyers, and
I mean that'd be like Arizona, Las Vegas. Yep. We haven't quite felt it yet. I think Portland is having a little bit of it, but here in Seattle, we have not had it touch us yet. We know it's coming, but I don't know if anybody's doing anything as a different response to try and. I mean, I heard that like Open Door already is like got 18% of the market down there in just like 2 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, honestly, the people, our customers are in Arizona and stuff like that, we don't get a ton of feedback on how it's changed their kind of approach and what they have to do differently.
That's more probably, internal for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they're crunching their numbers and their deal analyzers and whatever.
Right.
Good stuff. Well, this is super. Oh, we could talk forever and ever and ever, guys. But did you say you're coming out again this year? We'll do a plug for Tarl, and he's not even asked us to yet. Are you coming out again in April if Tarl does his event?
Yeah, I hope to be. Absolutely.
Awesome.
It was a great event last year, so definitely looking forward to it.
And probably you'll end up on stage at that event as well, guys. So we'll stay plugged in with Justin for you guys here at Seattle Investors Club and everybody listening to us, and probably circle up and have you on again, Justin, as the industry continues to disrupt and pivot, and new strategies are changing. New rules come out that make things different, but again, all that gets back to, we're talking about rules related to basically ringless voicemail, text messaging, and that sort of thing. But the old school, the OG way to roll, where you might have to be less concerned about that stuff, is direct mail, right? And just understanding what you do in your business and what message that you want to roll out and how you want to tie that back to a sequence of a conversation. I encourage you guys all to go to openlettermarketing.com and you will see what I'm talking about if you have not been there already. Highly recommend it. Great stuff today, Justin. I appreciate it and look forward to hopefully getting to rub elbows with you a little bit this spring if we get to see you here in the Seattle area.
That sounds great. Yeah, I'd love that.
Any other podcasts or anything that you listen to that you love for real estate investors that you can share with us?
Yeah, as far as real estate investors, so the podcast that I've been really listening to a lot lately has been more on like mindset and even outside of kind of real estate. So I listen to How I Built This with Guy Raz. I don't know if you know that. It's NPR.
I love that one.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, when I get my ideas usually come from outside of the industry that I can now implement inside the industry. That's kind of how I get a little bit more creative. Some other ones, let me see, like Bigger Pockets Business with Jay Scott and his wife, Carol. They do a great job. They talk to a lot of other people outside of real estate. Ed Milet and the MFCEO Project. Those two are awesome mindset podcasts. Those are probably the top 4 that I've been listening to now.
Sweet. I appreciate you sharing with us. Last question, because I keep thinking as we're here. What's the word out on the street from, I don't know if you're plugged into all your clients around the country or, God, you could start your own podcast. You have such a, wide variety of client base probably around the country. It'd be super awesome giving you an idea. Or you can tag team it with me. I'll co-host it with you and talk to clients around the country that you have on what they're experiencing in their market. Those people, they're your clients, right? What a great podcast series. That would be super cool. If you have any interest in doing that, let me know.
That's awesome.
In front of you guys here, where you and I and Joe, but you and I co-host a podcast series on what's happening in your market. And we talk to your different clients that are clients of Open Letter Marketing about their specific market, what's working for them, what's happening, with, is the market cooling off or strategies that are working. If you're interested in anything like that, it would, I have another, our other buddy, Nee from Certain Lending, which is our preferred hard money group that we love. That's national as well. I don't know if they're in all 50 states, but they are in many, many states. You guys check out certainlending.com. But Nee and I, as part of a podcast series here on the Nuts and Bolts of Real Estate Investing, we have one called My First 3 Deals, where we interview new investors. And boy, people love that, man, because it's real, right? Everyone thinks they want to hear from all the experienced people all the time. I actually think they prefer to hear on the bumps in the road and the successes and the ups and downs also from newbies and what their experience is. And so, layered on top, it would be super rad to touch people in different markets, like make a point. This week we're talking to, Justin from Boston. Next week we're going to talk to, whoever from, the Phoenix market. So if you have any interest in that, let me know.
Yeah, we might have to chat afterwards.
Yeah, cool. All right, guys, I was like having a little admin meeting here with all you guys listening. That's how we roll here. So, all right, guys, as always, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much, Justin Silverio, openlettermarketing.com. I assume that you have Facebook and Instagram and all that other stuff as well.
Yes, we do.
Right on. You guys are missing out. Go check it out, whatever mail house you're using. It's worth a look to see what they're doing different over here, not only around the direct mail, but the other awesome services, especially that super lead list generator, the IP stuff, the RVM, all that, right? One-stop shopping for that stuff. So as a reminder, I will say it's a Tuesday right now, and I am happy to announce that we have officially tonight It's November 12th as you're listening to this now. So it'll be a month from now when you will be able to attend this one again. But Seattle Investors Club has officially kicked off our Skagit County meetup, which is in Burlington at Bob's Burger and Brew, the second Tuesday of every month from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we've got our SIC meetup crew up there hosting that tonight. It's going to be great. If you guys are, I'll call you Northies. We got Newbies, we got Northies for all you people living up north in Skagit County. Come and visit us there and check our Seattle Investors Club website and look on meetups at Seattle Investors Club to find out more information about that. And as always, every weekly, we have our free coaching and mastermind session where we have wholesalers and rehabbers and BRRRs, if that's a word, buy and hold people, and private money lenders, and brokers investors, everybody. Open door every Tuesday in Burien at Angelo's from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Come join us there. If you come late, that's fine too. Come late. As long as you're there for an hour, I think it's worth coming. But if you can't come at 12 and you can come at 1, that's fine too. The more the merrier. And then on Thursdays, every Thursday in Redmond at Family Pancake House from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We've got another meetup crew out there. Super awesome for all you East Siders. We hope to see you there. And that's about it. Over and out, Joe. Anything else we need to add? I'm always forgetting something. So,
if people want to check out the show notes, you can go to SeattleInvestorsClub.com/91. That's SeattleInvestorsClub.com/91. I've got all the links and everything that Julie and Justin have mentioned at that page. And if you like this show, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and leave us a review. We'd love that.
Awesome stuff. Well, thanks, guys. Over and out. I'm going to head down to the meetup. See you guys there. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Seattle Investors Club podcast. If you have questions that you'd like to have answered on the show, shoot us an email at info@seattleinvestorsclub.com. Now go out, take that action, and build that real estate business. Thanks for listening.